Blessed greetings, each and every one of you. Well, this one here is a tribute to Black History Month, or to all, or not necessarily to Black History Month, but to all the great people of Black history. You know, um, I just want to touch on just a few of the ones who really have amazed me or inspired me or who I really look up to, or my favorite ones, I should say, But before I do that, I'm just going to read to you a little bit about Black History Month and stuff like that, for those who don't, really understand a lot of it. So, for starters, the celebration of Black History Month began as a Negro History Week, which was created in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson, a noted African American historian, scholar, educator, and publisher. It became a month long celebration in 1976. The month of February was chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Did you know that? The NAACP on February 12, 2019, the NAACP marked the 110th anniversary, spurred by growing racial violence in the early 20th century, and particularly by the 1908 race riots in Springfield, Illinois. A group of African American leaders joined together to form a new permanent civil rights organization, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which is what we abbreviate as the NAACP. One of my favorites is probably one not really noted as much or who doesn't get as much recognition, and he's Shaka Zulu. So I'm just going to read you a little bit here about Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu, Shaka Kasenkanzagona, also known as Shaka Zulu, was the king of the Zulu kingdom from 1816 to 1828. He was one of the most influential monarchs of Zulu kingdom, responsible for the reorganization of the Zulu military into a formicide force via a series of wide-reaching and influential reforms. He was born July 17. He was born July 1787. Shaka in KwaZulu Natal, South Africa. Shaka Zulu's full name is Shaka Kasenzangakuhona, and his nationality is South African. And he was assassinated, and that happened on September 22nd in 1828 in Kawa South Africa. He has siblings such as Digand, Muparand, Maglanda, and more. His parents are Nandi and Kajama, and he's just one of my favorite. There's actually a movie about him. You guys can look it up. You guys can buy it. It's Shaka Zulu, Shakazula, Shaka Zulu. My next one would be Garrett Morgan. Now, Garrett Morgan is an electronic automatic. He created these things like the stoplight and the toaster and things like that. So in 1923, Garrett Morgan patented an electronic automatic traffic signal. Morgan was the first African American to own a car in Cleveland. He also invented the gas mask. Another one that I like, and I don't see how I couldn't like him. For some of you who know, I used to box. This one here is a boxer, and his Jack 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 Johnson became the first American African man to hold the world heavyweight champion boxing title in 1908. He held onto the belt until 1915. It's a long time. That's a really long time. That's longer than a lot more other people hold on to a title. Anyways, first lawyer, first lawyer John Mercer Langston was the first black man to become a lawyer when he passed the bar in Ohio in 1854. When he was elected to post of town clerk of Brohelm, Ohio, in 1855. Langston became one of the first African Americans ever elected to public office in America. John Mercer Langston was also the great uncle of Langston Hughes, famed poet of the Harlem Renaissance. Did you guys know that? Famous protesters and activists that are some of my favorites are like Rosa Parks and stuff like that. But while Rosa Parks is credited with helping to spark the civil rights movement when she refused to give up her seat on the bus and stuff like that, to a white man in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, inspiring Montgomery bus boycott. The lesser known Claudette, the lesser known Claudette Colvin was arrested 9 months before for not giving up her seat to a white passenger. And this happened, like I just said, 9 months before Harriet Tubman. And that person's name is Claudette Colvin. Another one that I really, you know, have a deep heart for is Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks, born Loretta Pleasant in August on August 1st, 1920, October 4th through October 4th, 1951. So she was born in 1920 and she died in 1951. Was an African American woman whose cancer cells are the source of Hela cell line, the first immortalized human cell line and one of the most important cell lines in medical research. So her cancer cells, she's the first person to give up cancer cells to to help fight cancer, basically. And again, she was born August 1st, 1920, and she died October 4th, 1951. The Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. Her husband was David Lacks, and she had children like Deborah, Elsie, Zachariah, Barry, and David Jr. David Lacks Jr. So yeah, that's just a few of my Black History hero. There are many, many more that I do have, but I just wanted to do this thing, to try to put out a little bit of information out there. And also, did you guys know that? Well, this person is not black, but I guess you could kind of say close to it. He's Mexican. He's actually Mexican. But did you know that hero or that fictional hero that everybody hears about, Zorro, like the kind of like a Robin Hood, but Zorro, he walked around with the sword. Zorro, did you know that he's really a Mexican? The reason why a Mexican couldn't play it because Mexicans and dark-skinned people were not allowed to be on TV to do filming. So that's just a little something that I wanted you guys to know also. And as usual, Servant David said, "Manas love and elevation." Want to stay tuned for the next one, yeah?